Hello, everybody. Welcome back to What If the World Restarted. Today we are on episode 14. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. So, last episode we saw a lot of big changes happening to the map. We saw a lot of colonization occurring here because I think we are now in around 1400s. I don't know when, but now as you're reaching the age of colonialism, we're no longer going to be advancing by centuries or etc. per episode. We're going to start to slow down as now we are in an age of more relevance. So yeah, we're going to start filling in the map even more. And yeah, it's going to be great. Anyway, so here's our map. The major changes we had were, of course, the two Italies finally putting aside their differences and uniting, and then going on a conquest to retake this bit of land over here in this Serbia, Yugoslav region, and taking over the brown brown Sardinian country. They also went on a conquest with the Iberian country, who has now become the only country in the peninsula and become a dominant force in their combined military alliance with the Romans. That's now the new world's most powerful country. And we're going to do our very first rankings this episode. So stay tuned. Anyway, we're going to start off now in North America, as we are going to continue to see the European Western powers continuing to colonize. We have the Iberian country and the Moroccan country going on a large conquest over here. So the Moroccan country is going to be the first to do this. They are going to be sending their troops to occupy all of this land over here. And they're going to push over here as well. And we're going to have the Iberian country expanding their claim into the central area of what is now the United States, of course. They're expanding along the Gulf Coast until we get something like this. This is not me invading. This is just fixing the borders. So yep, they meet up with each other. We also have the American country and the East Coast, New England sort of country expanding themselves. The American country is going to be taking a huge expansion into the Great Lakes region, expanding themselves westward to try and compete with the growing influence of the European powers in the region. And remember, this is not a colonized America. They were never part of any European empire. This is their own thing. This is them themselves. You also have this East Coast country expanding and into the Canadian area. And remember, just as a reminder, this area is not as cold because we're doing a little temperature shift to make this series a bit more interesting, so we can have settlements down in these random mini islands over here in the desert, settlements in northern Russia and Canada, which would make this area and everything more powerful, especially as well. We don't have to worry about sea levels, as Greenland is now just its own thing. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Also, as you can see up here, we've got we're going to have as we saw, the UK expanded its colony up here as well. So yeah. Anyway, so we've got the Canadian country and them expanding. We're now going to have the Republic of Ireland and Greenland and Scotland expanding their own colonies. Scotland is going to be making the biggest push as they want to try and keep themselves in the relevancy of the European powers, now making a landing in mainland Canada in the Northwest Territories area, and maybe a little bit of Nunavut to the east. This is in real life a predominantly empty area, also filled mostly with local Inuits who are the only ones fit to survive this routine daily. They're living in this area. Nice, we've got that done. We're now going to move down to the Americas, as over the last 100 years it hasn't been colored in, but we are going to have the exploration of the entire entire continent. Yeah. Humans have worked from all countries to try and explore this area, to try and find its local mineral wealth, which they have found abundancy, and eliminate the tribals. Very common thing that Europeans do. So, let's see. So now we have the first European making a landing in the South American continent. We have the Iberian country, and England. England is going to be the first one to do it. They're going to land in the Amazon River Delta, and they're going to take this portion of land up here. Their colony is going to expand quickly as the local mineral wealth and fertile land is gaining a lot of popularity within the Europe. So England expands their colony pretty big. Iberia then puts their colony in the most populated part of Brazil in real life, in this kind of metropolitan urban coastal area, something like this. That looks pretty good, actually. And yeah, we also have the Sahrawi country expanding their colony in Central America. But before that, after 50 to 100 years of their rule, the local people are sick of their oppressors, as all they're doing is just moving people over to work them tired. So they launch a revolution and successfully revolt to become the first ever independent country in the South and Central America. So yeah, they've been formed as a revolt over here, and now people have begun to see the weakness of this country. So friends who used to be allies are now going to war. The Moroccan country has decided, this is my time to expand and gain some more land, which is exactly what they're going to be doing. They declared war on the Sahrawi country, and their forces absolutely steamroll them. They push all the way around, and the country is gone. Welcome. Same is the case for the Central American colonies. Cuba, Jamaica, and Hispaniola fall, as well as Puerto Rico, fall to the Moroccans. In the peace treaty, we see the full annexation of the Sahrawi country by Morocco. This is a big step, but an important one, as we now see Morocco taking the title of being the most powerful country in Africa that isn't a European one. They also expand further inland to the Sahara Desert. It's not invading, remember. They also do that. So yeah, they're pretty big now. We also see the West African country making a large expansion inland. They've been sticking predominantly to the coast for the long time. So yeah, they're finally going to expand. We see a little bit more expansion from their neighbors as well. The Nigerian country expands further north, leaving something like this. This Central African country expands outwards as well. And yeah, we're almost filling in Africa. But now, this is when we see our first mega empire forming. This is going to be quite a big and weird step. The 4 Central Asian countries who have very similar cultures and languages, almost like if you, let's say, Turkey and Azerbaijan. They've decided between themselves that if they were united together, they would be a force to be reckoned with, which is exactly what they're going to be doing. Boom, 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 boom. So yes, they all unite together to form a greater country. They unite together and they put their capital right here on the Aral Sea. And we now have a new major empire in Central Asia. They immediately will expand further into Central Asia to try and expand their influence. They're going to try and also fix their borders, which is very good for me. They expand all the way out in this direction, and they start to expand southwards as well. Yep, like so. We see this, and we see our first war second war actually of the episode, with the Persian country here in Central Asia, as well as the newly formed Central Asian country going at it. Central Asian country will move their troops across the empty plain and kind of surround them from anything else, blockade them. Then they will enter their troops in and won't go well. The Persian country wants to jump in to try and get some stuff as well. So they're going to take all of this land, as well as this major city here. And then the Central Asians will finish them off. After a little while, they manage to fine-tune this as the border, which they're going to both compromise on. And yes, another country has been eliminated from the world map. They weren't that big of a country, though, so it's not really going to affect us too much, is it? Goodbye. Now, we move over to Mesopotamia, where we see a war happening. Quite a few we've had this episode. Once again, it's another jumping. This time, the Caucasian and the Green country and this Georgian country will move in. The Georgian country will take all of this central piece of land here. The Green country up here will take their bit of land. This is not invading, by the way. And finally, the blue and orange teams will take that grab as well. The orange team will take this, and the blue team will take the rest. Lovely. They just got completely colonized like a European, or like what the Europeans would do. Just split them up like that. So lovely. Now we got rid of another country. We see another country being invited to Rome's military alliance with Spain. Guess who it is, everybody? The Moroccans. Oh, how do I... Yes, Morocco has now been added to the coalition of the empires. This is not good for the rest of the world. Yeah, I know. So, England is going to respond to this accusation and this growing power by forming their own military alliance. Lovely. They're going to form the Chevron Arrow Alliance. This alliance is going to be with themselves, England, and the German country. Nice. Very cool. And to test out this military alliance, both them and the Germans are going to be raiding their fellow counterparts. It's going to start with England because, of course, we're the one famous for colonizing, right? Nobody else did any colonizing because that's not how anything works, is it? I'm being sarcastic, by the way. They test their forces on Scotland, and Scotland isn't as strong as they claim to be. Maybe. Their entire colony completely goes over to the UK. And then Ireland's like, what? And then they attack Ireland. Ireland tries to fight off, but after they lose all their major cities, it's not going to go too well. As for this region, though, this one will be the first to collapse, as it's the furthest away from the Irish main colony. Then the land forces, the colonial forces that are permanently stationed in this region, are going to advance into the Irish colony. They're going to do quite a lot of damage, taking this region almost straight away. They continue to push over, taking this major city. And all of this is their last Irish resistance. And just as they managed to help fight a defensive line, the Canadian country takes it. So yeah, not good for Ireland. The Canadian country makes a deal with England where they get this. And let's have a look at the peace treaty here. Boom. Complete annexation. Just, the UK is now one big country, as it should be. Mm-hmm. Gone. Gone. As a replacement, we see the old capitals of both Ireland and England being replaced by some small major cities. We also see a bit more population along these lakes. Just beginning of populating, a bit more populating in Canada, especially in this Nova Scotia region. Another one on this island. A bit more by Iberia. And America, of course, is going to start plopping cities everywhere. Because that's what they're going to do. Got some major cities in the Mississippi area. And there's a little bit of a gap here, as of course, for the Appalachian Mountains. I know about those. Just we're going to have some small cities going over in all of the colonies, just because as the Europeans are beginning to move more and more of their people over here, which is going to alleviate some space in some of the major cities. Also, we have to add a capital city for this country. And they've decided to go with the one and found their own city right here. Yeah, lovely. We're also going to add a few cities to this colony. And we'll be right back. Going back to Asia, we now see China is going to once again do a huge expansion out of nowhere. They're going to come in and they're going to take loads of land because they've got enough people to do it now. Chinese forces will move all the way up to this area and completely expand all the way up to Lake Baikal. And this entire region, boom. They'll also expand down south into Southeast Asia. They'll expand along this border. And yeah, well, that was a lot bigger than I was originally planning to, but yeah, this is China. Very big. They are now the world's biggest country, I presume. Yeah, they are, 100%. And their neighbors are immediately going to be like, hey, that's not fair. You took literally everything. So they're going to respond by taking their own bits of land, simply just to try and resist the expansion, China. And of course, their own gains, such as expansion. I mean, do I need to explain more? Do I? Wait, we got Japan expanding themselves into Manchuria as well, which is what China left a gap for. They also go into the Kamchatka Peninsula as well as the Bering Islands. And this also means they're going to land in Alaska. Our first Asian country here in North America. They're going to set up their colony. A nice one at that as well. In this region of southwest Alaska. We also have the Chinese Navy going on an expedition out in the Pacific, taking the northern Mariana Islands. How do I do this? Okay, so if I do that, yes. Take this island here, Northern Mariana Islands, as well as some other Pacific islands on their way. And they will actually take Hawaii themselves. They'll also land in Baja California. And now we have two countries from Asia in North America. I know, it's crazy. China's done the colonial dreams which they had always hoped for. Would have been weird if we had a Chinese native community in like West Mexico. Different environment, isn't it? Anyway, so we have the Asians now going on their colonial mission. And just before we end this episode, the Chinese military is going to do some not nice things into Vietnam or South China. What up? Whatever. It's up to you. The Vietnamese country is going to expand first, moving up the coast, taking its major city, and the Taiwan will take the rest. Very cool. And to finish off this episode, we're going to have a few more things. Last thing, we're going to have some more expansion in Asia. The South Iranian country is going to do that. And now we see the Tibetan and Indian countries expanding. The Indian one expands the most, expanding all the way up to the Central Asian country. We also see the Bangladeshi country expanding, or Bengali, we'll say. And this is what we've ended up with. Now, the Central Asian country is going to take the rest of this. Nice. This is what we've come to. We also see Russia going under the Siberian countries and expanding like this such. It's quite suspicious, don't you agree? And you know, it is suspicious. Very. Whoa, what's happening here? There's a special military operation happening. This will only take 3 days. Or will it? Anyway. No. The Russians send their forces into the Siberian countries, as they are still quite pissed that they left earlier. So they want themselves to re-annex. This one goes very well, and the other country themselves puts up a large resistance, even managing to push back, and enter into the other territory, taking back this peninsula here, and make a landing on the other one. The Russian military is like, what? It's like Ukraine. And then all of a sudden, the Russian reinforcements straight from the capital come, who've been trained for a very long time. And this lovely little counterattack is now turning into quickly built trenches or defense. So they built some wooden barricades around each of these major cities, such as this one, which does get encircled, and the other 4 as well. This one falls first. The Russian Arctic Navy will move in to this region, and before long we have the full annexation of both of them, which, as you can tell, is a very nice land grab for Russia. They are now quite a big country. Once again, we have to erase another country, so boop and boop. Lovely. This is what we got here. Russia's expanding themselves. And to finish off the borders here in Central Europe, we're going to have the Central Asian and Green country. Green country is going to expand in here first, and the Central Asians are going to follow up and expand into this region. Whoa, I just noticed China and Russia are almost the exact same color. We can't be doing that. That's better. China expands a little bit more north, but the rest of this colonialism is from Japan, who's going to take the entire Kamchatka region. North Japan, actually. I'm sorry, South. I completely forgot about you. And then the Russians are going to take the rest of it. Oh, that's not the Russians. The Russians are going to take the rest, leaving merely just... Well, actually, Asia's almost filled in now. I mean, it is. Yeah, mainland Asia is completely filled in. Whoa, our second continent to be filled in. And to finish off this episode, we have a little bit of South Japanese expansion. They are going to set up their own colony now in the Philippines. Something like this. And Australia is the last bit of land that hasn't been explored. The last major bit. And to end this episode, the Romans have finally come to take back what they've... Actually, they didn't lose anything. They're not really taking back anything, are they? They're just being a bit greedy. Lovely. Exactly what we want to show. The Romans are going to go on yet another expansionist conquest, declaring war on the nations of Greece, which also brings in their ally, Bulgaria. Roman forces, who are tactically the best nation in the world, will move in and encircle city after city, leaving all but fire and dead bodies. I know that's quite extreme, but like, it's the 1400s. What do you think's gonna happen? Like, look at Genghis Khan. He killed 40 million people, which is like 20% of the people in the world, or even more than that at that time. That's like if you just came today and just killed all of India in 30 years. It's not nice, is it? Bulgaria gets absolutely wiped off the map because they are very weak. Greece, though, has a little bit more for themselves, as this is quite a mountainous region. They capture the island of Corfu. This is an important military fort as well. The Romans continue to expand, now isolating the capital region to itself. This is not good for the Greeks. The Turkish portion of Greece grows in unrest as they are being undefended, and it eventually boils over to a very own. Oh, that looks like a. That's better. To its own. Yeah, revolution. This whole region falls, and eventually the entire part of Turkey is now in. The entire part of Greece is now in Turkish hands, or in the people's hands, we'll say. Lovely. This is a nice color, actually. And before long, after the Greeks' capitals fall, the nation of Greece will surrender. We also have Cyprus declaring independence. Yay, Cyprus. They only have 2 major cities. So, yep, let's do the peace treaty here. As you know, we're going to have the Romans doing a little bit of an expansionist conquest. Well, they're going to be taking the entire thing because that's what expansionists do. The Turks are going to decide to put their capital city down here. The Cypriots have got theirs over there as well. And we have the Romans annexing all of Greece. Whoa. Yeah, that's better. The city has been completely burned down. I know, extreme. We never said they were nice though, did we? So goodbye, everybody. Yep, so they've just decided to choose this one. And we have the Romans fully annexing them. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like and subscribe. We have seen yet another fallen giant to the onslaught of the Roman regime. Yeah. And a few new countries and a few less countries. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, subscribe, and goodbye.